all right. Hi. First of all, thank y'all for staying. This was long. Some people went over their 2-minute mark. That's okay. I honestly really struggled with what to say tonight because, as y'all know, it's our job to platform you, and we're much happier just doing the work instead of talking. You can leave the talking to the people who aren't doing enough. And that was a ding on those of you who post on Instagram and LinkedIn too often. And second, it's just really difficult to even know what to say. I think all of us are feeling some form of loss right now. It doesn't matter who you vote for, who you love, where you come from. If you didn't, you wouldn't be clenching your wallet. You wouldn't be this worried about your kids. You wouldn't have backup plans that rhyme with move to Singapore and Portugal, which of course is a form of tragedy masquerading comedy. Or comedy masquerading tragedy. I'm not good at it. I don't know. Humanity is so funny. I feel like 4 years ago, saying anything was like walking on eggshells, and fast forward 4 years, saying anything is like biting glass. I don't know anything now. I don't know if it's possible to put yourself first without putting someone else second. I don't know if it's possible to stand on terrestrial ground without decimating hundreds of square miles of someone else's. I'm not old enough to even know that when someone says, this is mine, which means someone else hears, it's not yours, who's right, who's wrong, and who gets to say so? Because where I come from in Tennessee, we measure life by worth. We measure life by how long we can go. This is how confused we all are, not by its worth. I think a lot of us who have these quandaries, who don't know what to say, who don't know how to speak up, often first ask the first question, who started this? And I think back to my middle school years, probably the most painful of my entire life, maybe for some of you as well. We were all little assholes scapegoating everything for our puberty. And I think back to our young people, our 15-year-olds, my 15-year-old self, searching for shape, for meaning, just to be heard without harming, just to belong like a boy without erasing and being blamed for everything. But today, volume trumps virtue. So it's impossible to know who's right. And to dunk on all the platforms in here, we all know what you have all done. We all know what we have done in my alma mater. It is impossible to know what's credible, what's real, when they bend the knee and break their spines over and over again. A lot of people tell me that we are a resilient species and that we have weathered far worse. But I look around and every solution is so one-sided when I'm convinced that most of us are actually in the middle, like rational human beings, wondering if we're even debating the same question. And you all know the reward for doing good, and if you don't, please check out John M. Chu's Wicked for Good. No good deed goes unpunished. I hear Cynthia kills it. But when you look at this, and you look at these instances of the many of you who are brave enough to speak up, you all know the price of it. Speaking up these days will silence you. Existing outside your apartment will exile you. Building bridges with another country will now cost you. Don't you know? This is why now they say that silence is golden. And so, in moments like these when I'm weak, I think about my mom, because I'm a good gold boy. And my mother, who is the toughest person I've ever met, will often remind me that when things are this convoluted, this out of your control, there is a tendency for smart, resourceful people to try to boil the ocean, try to tackle everything at once. But we all know now that never actually works. The only way through everything is through one thing. That tomorrow could be two things, that over time may be enough. You are here in this room because what you have done seems to the outside world, outside the walls of your forehead, for the people who have not been with you for decades, as an inevitability. Your success was certain, and we all know the lie of that. We all know that success is decades in the making when no one is watching. We all know it started impossibly. And so it's my job here tonight to remind you all of the things that were once impossible for people who were no different, no more resourceful than us. They only had one thing on us, and that is time. It was in 1517. A German professor nailed 95 grievances on the door of the castle church, the most influential institution in the land. It was 1776, the fledgling nation dared to declare independence against, you forget, the most powerful empire in the world, something many found suicidal. It was in 1955, a seamstress wouldn't get up off her seat in the bus when nobody looked like her. It was 1969 when the launch thawed a war. It was 2018, where's John M. Chu? Someone crazy enough to think he could reverse 25 years of history. It was 5 years ago when 4 little letters for the first time saved our lives. Cynical people will invoke superlatives and scoff because they think they're too complicated. They're too well-resourced. They're too far gone to be relevant today. But it is my job to remind you that these are not anomalies. These are how renaissances were born. This is how nations persist. This is how we make space for our neighbors. This is how we touch the stars. This is how we make history with gold open by breaking records. This is how we save the world. People forget these moments because they seem like inevitabilities. They have been repackaged by the victors, and we forget they were impossible. And so tonight, we do not have answers. We only have something far more important. We have a question. If the wheel moved our bodies, if the printing press moved thought, and if the internet moved everything, then what will you move now? And the good news is you don't have to do everything. You can't. Nobody can. You just have to do one thing. Each of you is the most important one in the world because you are a first. And we just want you to show us why. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight.
Can't stop, hyper, stellar. Want your good God, cha-cha.